Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. In this tutorial, we'll be creating a Valentine's Day fondant heart cake. This video is in collaboration with Lorelei from Wedding Cakes For You. Don't forget to check out her awesome creation at the end of this one. I have a 4-inch round cake that I've cut in half and I'm filling in with some frosting. This is a hybrid buttercream frosting, will be linked in the eye icon and the description box below. Cut this in half and then repeat the same step for a square cake. If you have the same size square cake as your round cake, perfect, so that would be a 4-inch round cake and one 4-inch square cake. I did not, and so I had to make a larger cake and then just cut it down to size later. Line up the halves with the corner of your square cake and then just cut where each half sort of ends on the side there, and that'll be your 4-inch. Remove the excess. You can get cake pops with that. You could freeze it for a different project later on. And then you want to stick these cake sections onto your cake board. And also stick the circles onto the square with some frosting. From here, create a crumb coat. This will be a thin layer of frosting all around the cake to trap in any crumbs. Do the same for the very top of your cake as well. Because I know I am going to be covering my cake in fondant, I'm not too fussed if a few crumbs show through the final layer of frosting because it will be completely covered by the fondant. Once you reach the top, pop your cake into the fridge to set for about 20 minutes and then add on a second layer of frosting just to really hide those crumbs and create a nice base for your fondant to sit on. Ganache does work better under fondant, but because it's only a short cake and there's not a lot of frosting on here, it worked pretty well. Smooth out the sides, bring that lip of frosting to the center, back into the fridge she goes to set, and in the meantime we'll roll out our fondant. I like to use Bakehouse fondant and cornstarch to make sure that it doesn't stick to my countertop as I roll it out to about 3 or so millimeters in thickness. Rotate your fondant as you do this to make sure that it doesn't stick to your counter, and then drape it over your chilled cake, press out any air from the very top and slowly start to massage the sides of the fondant onto your cake. Undo those pleats as you go and just circular motions to massage it on there. Once it's all stuck, you want to cut off any excess. Make sure that it's nice and stuck at the bottom, so I use a fondant smoother just to press it down and then cut away the excess. Knead your excess fondant and store in some plastic wrap or an airtight container for use later on. Smooth out your fondant with 2 fondant smoothers, pinching at the sides and kind of tugging back and forth to create nice sharp edges. From here we're going to create an edible gold paint. You could use 100% edible gold dust, mix it with some rosewater spirit or white vinegar works if you can't use alcohol. Lemon juice works too. And paint over your whole cake. Because it's alcohol, it will evaporate quickly and leave behind just the paint, which is why we use the alcohol and not water. Once dried, add on a second layer just to make it super opaque. And then create your flowers. This is Bakehouse fondant again, it's just been coloured with some gel food colour, rolling it out nice and thin and then cutting out some circles. This is a multi-circle cutter, I bought mine on eBay I believe. Very easy to come by online. And then gently tap out your circles. You want to pinch these on 2 sides and bring the edges into the center to create a ruffle. I'm not gluing it all, I am literally just folding it and it just stays as is. Do the same for a secondary color, I've chosen pink. And run a fondant smoother or your rolling pin against the cutting side, and that way it just creates really sharp cuts without any frilly bits. Cluster 5 of these ruffles together to create a flower, and I just picked it up and stuck it onto my cake, which was still a little bit moist, and so my flowers stuck to it really well. You could add a little bit of water on there if they're not sticking instead. and then create your vines. I have some green Bakel's fondant and I'm rolling it between my hands, adding more pressure on one side so it's tapered, and then really thinning out that skinnier end. I pinch it between my fingers and I roll the log around my hand to create that sort of internal swirl shape. Apply it onto your cake the same way as your flowers. You might want to brush on a little bit of water behind your vine before you attach it onto your cake. And then for our very last step, you want to take some different colored green fondant, roll it out nice and thin, and then use a leaf plunger cutter to cut out your leaves. This will emboss the leaf grain onto your fondant and make it look a little bit more realistic. This leaf cutter was a little bit too big, so I cut it down even more so until I like the size. Give it a pinch at the base and then stick it onto your cake with a little bit of water. Pinching it gives it a bit more life and shape. Strategically place them where each vine digs underneath the flower, and that way you hide it completely and it just looks a little bit more natural. I lied, this was the last detail. For the very last detail, we have some pink fondant and I'm pressing it into a pearl silicone mold, which I have dusted with some cornstarch so it doesn't stick. Press it firmly in there, roll it and keep pressing just to make sure you got a nice shape. Cut off the excess and then push the pearls out of the mold and peel back that silicone mold. Apply it to your cake board with a little bit of water and you are done. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and give it a go. If you do, hashtag Rosie's Dessert Spot so we can see your awesome creations as well. And again, don't forget to check out Lorelai's beautiful cake that she has prepared for you guys this Valentine's Day. You can find the link in the description box below or in the eye icons. Thanks again, and we'll catch you in the next video.